Hey guys, welcome to the Smack Attack right here on HMG and the Hameen Media Group YouTube channel. I know what you're thinking. This is not the handsome James Money McIvor. He is on his birthday weekend, and he asked me to fill in. I am your guest host, Rad Rob, Rob Francois. Welcome everybody to the show. As always, we are joined by the co-host of the Smack Attack. He ain't Smackdown's bitch. It is the one and only John Enright. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Rattle Claws. Rob, it is good to hear your voice this morning. It is obviously different not hearing a Scottish brogue on the end of the other line. It's good to hear a good American voice. You know, Southern man, just like yourself, just like myself, to be able to talk some wrestling this morning as we get into it and do that kind of thing. But, I guess the first thing is, you and I have never worked together before. So, I guess let's take a minute to kind of learn about each other a little bit. I guess, I know you're from the South, but where are you located? And let's kind of figure out kind of what we do when we're not talking into microphones all the time.
I don't know when that is because, 70% of the week I'm talking in a microphone or some form or fashion. Fun fact, John, I do live outside of Nashville, Tennessee, but I am not a native Southerner. I'm actually from Connecticut. I was born and raised up in New England. Okay. My wife is from Tennessee. And MSG and I just went over this on the recent edition of RTW Rewind, which can be found right here on HMG. Cheap plug there. I met my wife at an AOL chat room in 1998, and we hit it off, and here we are. However many years later, I don't do math, but 20-some years later, we have a almost 3-year-old daughter. So yeah, I'm a transplant, but I do love it in the South. Yeah. I really do. It's one, it's cheaper to live. The people are a lot nicer. People up north are completely miserable. Sorry, Ben. Colin, what's in the house, buddy? Colin Weissong is in the house. What's up, buddy? Yeah, the Smack Attack is finally back in the hands of the Americans. That's
right.
That's right.
And Southerners, good Southerners.
Yes, sir. But I have learned to love living in the South, and I don't want to go back. I really don't. But no, I've been a wrestling fan for 30-something years. My camera sucks, by the way. I have to get a new one. It flickers every now and then. So I grew up obviously in the Northeast, being a WWF mark. Around 89, we got cable, we got TBS, so I found out what WCW and the NWA was. And I've loved wrestling ever since up until the pandemic. I actually stopped watching wrestling on a weekly basis because it was just so freaking god-awful. So this is the first SmackDown I've seen in quite a while. You might have to catch me up on some of the things some of the storylines that might be going on.
That's fine.
But we're definitely going to break down the show and get into it, and I'll let you know what I thought about it. But yeah, man, that's kind of my little background. I'm also a Twitch gaming streamer. I'm a YouTube content creator. I have a retro gaming channel. So I'm always busy, dude. Always busy.
That's good. That's good. So, I'm sure you know, some of the people know, I work for a nonprofit here in rural Texas, helping victims of sexual assault, domestic violence, as well as mental health advocacy as well. And then my wrestling journey is different because I didn't really grow up with it. I grew up in South Louisiana. And so you would think, big territory days, people coming through Lafayette wrestling, some of those areas, Bill Watts and all that kind of stuff. It just never connected with me. It wasn't on TV on a regular basis. I think a couple of times I saw the old WWF Hogan cartoon show. That was about the extent of what I knew about wrestling. And it wasn't until when I got to college and I was in dorms and we had cable TV, I started seeing Monday Night Wars of Nitro and WCW. She did. Thanks, Colin. She did. We're gonna try to.
Thanks for stopping by, Colin.
Yeah, thanks for stopping in. So it was college for me. So 97. So peak, the Monday Night Wars kind of thing is what really got me into it. Watching WCW Nitro versus Raw and just flipping back and forth and going, boy, both of these are a lot of fun and goofing off with it. And then kind of died down for a little bit and then picked up probably a few years ago when I started learning about the independent wrestling scene here in Texas, and got to meet Lance Archer. He's a good acquaintance of mine now, and a lot of other local wrestlers here. Barrett Brown, who's becoming big on New Japan Strong here. If you've watched New Japan Strong, Texas local guy, and then a lot of other people that I'm starting to learn and get to know and connect. And so that just kind of built my love back up for wrestling. When having a son, being able to do that. He's 15 now, but we've been going to live shows and different things, and so it makes it different when you watch independent shows and watch it live, and then you go to turn the TV on and you watch it, and you're expecting something a little better, and it's not that level, and so, and as much as I want to support Lance and AEW, there are times where I turn even AEW on and I'm going, come on. Like, what are they like, I hate that they've bounced Lance around so much. They bring him up, put him in these title matches, and then they take him down. I'm like, he should have held a title by now. He's been in there over a year. He looks like $1 million, 6'8", 275-pound Texan, just scary looking. He should be. He should have held a title by now, but it just, but that's here or there. So that's, but again, I'm a little biased. I know the guy, he's a good dude. He helped me get tickets to New Japan, to the G1 when they were here in Dallas. So I got to see that show live. Got to do some other things like that he just kind of helped us with, and then connecting with people that way. So that's where now, and then being able to do stuff like this. And then you watch, it's so hard. The very first time I watched, I think, Smackdown, which has been since 2000 or something like that. I was asking James, was like, is this how it is on all the time? I mean, this is bad. This is really bad. And he goes, no, this is pretty much what it is. And of course, in the middle of a pandemic, when you're trying to watch a show with crowd noise piped in and there's no people there except for on the screen and it looks stupid, it just makes it not enjoyable. So, but I guess to start, the question would be, hey, we're not going to have to be dealing with this much longer. According to news sources yesterday before SmackDown went live, WWE is going to start touring mid-July.
That is correct.
And guess where they're starting? The great state of Texas.
Great state of Texas. Houston, Texas at the Toyota Center, correct?
Yeah. The Toyota Center is on Friday. The SmackDown will be the first live show there. And then Fort Worth, which is literally 20 minutes away from me, will host Money in the Bank at the Dickies Arena in Fort Worth. And then the next Monday night, on the 18th is the Money in the Bank. And I think 19th is the Raw at the AAC. So Fort Worth has gotten really smart. They built that Dickies Arena Center. It's about 14,000 seat arena. So perfect for something like a show like AEW or a pay-per-view like this, where it's not a huge stadium like the Death Star, Jerry World, whatever you want to call it, or out in Arlington, but good enough. AAC holds about 20.
Yeah.
So, so it's about the same things. Fort Worth got real smart with that. And then it just makes touring that much, because let's be honest, people want to say they want to come to Fort Worth. You come to Dallas for a show, but if it's in Dallas, somebody like me, I'm not driving an hour and a half.
Right.
An hour and a half for me to go to Dallas. I ain't doing that, But if you put a show in Fort Worth, man, you're grabbing people from all over from that direction. You're hitting two spots that are just going to really do that. So, and of course, the fact that our governor has now said masks are your choice. You can't. Governments, even local governments, cannot mandate wearing a mask, and if they do, they're fined. And so, now Texas is 100% open. It's your choice to wear a mask. I, will respect people like at grocery stores or whatever. I haven't been vaccinated yet. I'm waiting for the Johnson & Johnson to become available somewhere so I can just get that one, because I ain't doing that DNA messed stuff. Sure, it's cool technology, but it hasn't been tested.
None of it's really been. It was good that Johnson & Johnson pulled it off the shelves, because people were either dying or getting adverse reactions to it.
Yeah, but they were all women who were taking what did you call it? Birth control. Yeah, it was 6 women taking birth control. So
we actually have a run on it. So sorry to interrupt you. We have a special guest making a special appearance here. Let's bring him in.
Let's do it.
Yo.
Oh my God.
Yes, that's right. I heard you talking about your mandating and your birth control. If only your fathers would have pulled out, that would have been the best birth control possible. Then we wouldn't have you two pathetic bearded morons here on the smack attack at Hameen Media Group infidels. It's Hacker Hameen. YOLO.
Holy shit, the run in from the man himself.
Good morning, Ben. What's going on, brother?
Infidels, good morning. Glad to have you guys covering the show, man. I saw Rob put it up there and said, shit, I enjoyed that show last night. So let's give him a couple minutes where I got to do some other production work, but hopefully you guys are having a good morning, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah, no, it's good morning so far. Getting to work with Rob and getting ready to. We were actually getting ready to start talking. We were talking about how Texas is going to host the first live shows that WWE is hosting, which is funny because AEW is the next week, and I feel like this was WWE saying, "All right, fuck you, AEW. We're going to come in first." That was the whole point of that.
That's a hell of a smart promoter move, a stick move. Come in, juke the town, get the ticket money, and WWE's done that to 2C or tried to do that to 2CW before, but the faithful were so loyal to it. It might have hurt some people who have not a ton of disposable income who had to choose one or the other for their kids, but yeah, dude, if you're in a war, that's a smart move. Let them make their chess move. And then boom, I would do that a couple times. I would see where they're going. And because once they got those buildings locked down, WWE can, use their years of leverage, that's what they have over AEW with these contracts with buildings. So unless Khan pays, and if I was the building people, I would tell Khan, dude, I would up the price another 20-30%. And that's your insurance policy that we won't book WWE ahead of you to come flush your town. So everybody's a scumbag.
So then Khan will lose more money because he's not filling even the B and C arenas.
Right. But there's you weigh that of, is the perspective of being first and being back worth that to get that to try and take that ground. And WWE acts like we're back. What's back? Hameen's Tarp Emporium. Because what happens when you can only still fill a third of the arenas like you were before? It's not like it's going to be fucking to the rafters and people going nuts, man.
But I'm going to be honest with you, Ben. We, here, the Fort Worth show, the Money in the Bank is in Fort Worth, 20 minutes from me.
All right.
And that's a 14,000 seat arena. So it's not massive. It's like the AAC.
That's where they need to be.
Yeah.
But what happens when they can't fill that?
Well, right now people are clamoring for this kind of stuff. Like there are like Gillies downtown. They're starting to do live shows in Fort Worth. That place, they're having to kick people out because people are wanting to go to live events.
Okay.
And Texas is now completely 100% open. The governor has mandated that if local governments try to do mass mandates, those governments are fined, and they cannot limit people on if they want to wear a mask or not. It's up to everybody's choice. So this is now kind of freed up the state to go, all right, well, if you can do what you want, we're open. We have live events. We're doing all these things. So we're seeing stuff like this start to happen here, which is, I think, the other reason why Texas is becoming the first place where a lot of these touring companies to go, because the governor said, hey, by the way, unemployment, you're not getting that shit anymore. Go back to work. Masks, they're your choice. Do whatever you want, but you cannot mandate.
Let's be honest with you. Texas is one of those rebel states that ain't nobody gonna tell a Texas boy what the fuck to do. You know what I mean? And they're not. It's got. I don't want to say it has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the upper echelon, higher powers that are getting kickbacks on kickbacks, whether it's from death claims, from shutting things down, of whatever they want to do. And Texas doesn't have the overarching government and governors and mayors that are nearly as corrupt as the East Coast, Northeast, that are all in that, where they go and break down Giuliani's door to take his shit away. You know what I mean? That's not you don't have that level of corruption openly in Texas, and that's why freedom reigns there a little bit more than other places. And as that goes, so will others, because hey, they did it. That's the excuse that they're trying to undo all of this insanity that they've conditioned people to do. And well, that's whether if you've been vaxxed, you don't need a mask. Well, now how are you supposed to tell anybody? Well, it's your papers. Well, you can't show your papers. And that's not a HIPAA law. It's about the taking of civil liberties and civil rights, and who's going to bend to it, and who's going to come up with these stupid little Nancy Brown excuses of why this to justify that. It's a super spreader. Oh, yeah. How'd that go with the Super Bowl, WrestleMania, spring break? None of it. All of it was a big, huge bunch of media bullshit. And Texas don't go in like that. So I'm hoping that they pack out 14,000 standing room only, because the way that goes does trickle down to the indies, and people need that. Okay, this bullshit we lived under for 14 months is over with, and it was all a lie to a most degree, of control. And now we're going to come back over the top on them. So I hope, if you're in Texas, pack those shows out, because the world is watching.
Yeah.
And we want that to set a tone of enough is enough and it's time for a change.
Yeah.
Somebody said that once in a while.
And we the independent shows, I've been going to them. They've been running lately. So I've been doing my best to go to a lot of independent shows, and we're seeing 100, 200, 300 people at shows in venues that can hold them. Just because that's important to support the local stuff. So then when this big stuff comes around, we do that. I mean, and the other funny part is AEW, they're running the same center they did, which is in Garland, which is literally all the way across the Metroplex. So you're cutting off a whole Fort Worth, Arlington, high money area there by going all the way on the east side of town, outside of Dallas. And then that's only a 2,000 seat arena. And right now I'm looking at tickets, and they're like $300 and $400 if you want tickets for what's left. And I'm going, fuck that shit. I ain't driving across town for $300, $400. I'm going to pay whatever WDE says on Wednesday. I'll look at that and go, hey, Money in the Bank, that's 20 minutes from my house. And I'll get upper deck seats for what, $50 or whatever.
Oh, probably on the street for less than that if you want to wait. You said AEW's charging $300-$400 for ring sides?
Yeah. Yeah. That's what, And that was floor. And then just up in
touch. Out of touch. You know what I would do if I was a fucking billionaire, dude? If I was coming back and I really wanted to endear people and get everybody to whatever, I mean, maybe fronts and floors, I wouldn't do this, but every other seat in the arena, $1. Motherfucker. I mean, is that going to hurt Khan to run 2 shows on that? He's already run a whole year without doing it. If you really want to get that tidal wave going of people coming back and as consumers to be like, wow, this guy's really wants people back in the arenas to support product, dude. That's absolutely what I do. And you got all these indie shows in Texas. Why are you talking to the promoter? Why am I not booked down there, bro? Yeah. What's the deal?
Well, I know I'm working on it. I always think about, hey, bring in the Conspiracy Horsemen. Let's have a 4-way with them. And, so, I'm friends with one of the guys, and I'm talking to him. So don't worry. I haven't, your name's been put in there.
Man. It was a good time in New Jersey. It was an outdoor show, so they asked people to wear masks, but no one was too hardcore about it. And they said that Titan show that I was on, even though I was unannounced because they built a big business, Blaze Haram versus Rick Recon in the Iraqi prison match. They said that was one of the largest crowds they have. And now that I'm announced for June 19th, I'm hoping we see those numbers go up even more. But it was a nice outdoor crowd. I like I said, I really hope they pack it out. But that is a dumb fucking move. $300-$400 means greed. And when you buy greed to your product, people are going to feel a certain way about it. And especially when you got infinite income in the billions, 1 or 2 moves like that would endear that crowd to him. But I'm shocked as Booker of the Year. I'm shocked that he missed the mark.
Yeah. And that's just what I could find. It wasn't through their AEW thing. So this was aftermarket. So, but from what everybody was saying, floor was still $150, $200.
That's overvaluing your worth. You know what I mean? It really is.
Yeah,
it's overvaluing what
$40 is too much, bro.
Yeah, it's overvaluing what you perceive your product to be worth. When it's really not. And I went to one of the first shows in Nashville. It might have been like the 3rd show when Dynamite launched. And it went to the Municipal Auditorium, not the Bridgestone where the Preds play. It went to the smaller one where WCW ran for how many years. And it seats maybe 8,000, and it was half full. And with the set there and all that too. They're definitely losing money in the early days when they launched. And I don't know what's going to happen when they come back. If John's right and they're clamoring for for any shows. If people just want to get out and go to something, I can see it, but it's still a niche market. Like you're only going to get the wrestling fans.
But how about like $40 tickets, $30 t-shirts? Buy 2 t-shirts, get 1 free. Now you've got them for $100, and they get a little added bonus for going that way. It's affordable, and now you got people wearing your brand. Like say the 3rd t-shirt is nothing more than an AEW "We're Back" shirt, something that cost them $5 to print and fucking throw it at them. And now you got walking billboards in your town all over the place, and they feel good that they got that. Hey man, that's the exclusive AEW "We're Back" shirt. You can only get it at come seeing us at the shows. Dude, they just miss on marketing all the time. And now you're going to tie greed to your product, and people are going to perceive that a certain way.
Now, what do you think about WWE, Ben? I mean, with I know the product is down right now, but with the draw of the name brand,
that's the difference.
You know, they should at least 3/4 full the arenas.
Price alone doesn't matter for them because they have the name brand recognition, and especially if they're coming in to scoop the town a week earlier. Now what you're left with is families who aren't. They're like, wrestling's coming to town. Oh, but wrestling's coming to town. And if you got kids and it's nostalgia, which everything is right now, you're going to go WWE 9 out of 10 times because AEW's niche demographic is an 18 to 49-year-old unmarried male who, you know, has expendable income but doesn't have family. So you're only getting 1 buy as opposed to a buy of 4 to 5. And the name recognition and longevity of WWE is going to beat them up in every outside demographic that way. So they're not even thinking how to get outside of, all right, we know we've got 18 to 49 tape trader masturbators. Boom, we got them. How do we get family? How do we get people who watch WCW and like Sting? And how do we get new little kids to get into Orange Cassidy? You know what I mean? Like, they're not doing any of that to really expand their bubble. And that's the sad thing of wrestling is they think they're over. And as Rip said, you ain't over.
Sure.
You know, so they think they're hyped instead of going, how do we know we've got them. How do we get outside of this? And how do we do good business locally with Texas, where Texas becomes AEW country?
When you have Lance Archer, who is a native Texan from the area, he lives probably a good 30 minutes from that arena they're going to be wrestling. You know, I mean, how do you not have someone like that where you're promoting him, using him in this area to do the? I mean, that's what New Japan did. They hoarded the hell out of him when the G1 was here. And I mean, like, I was able to get tickets from him. He signed stuff for me. I got stuff. I helped him put posters and stuff out so that I was able to get tickets to the G1 because they used him, and he wasn't even going to be on the show originally. He was going to be like, he was just promoting the hell of it because of it. And then they put him on the show. And then they said, oh, by the way, we want you in the G1. And then he had the Murder Hawk year that he had from that G1 experience in Dallas, starting with Will Ospreay. And so, I mean, if he did that for New Japan, why the hell is AEW not doing that here right now, making him run the roads, hit the town? He'll do it. He's done it. You know,
they should have a mini angle of, my state's the best. We're opening up here, and Murder Hawk's in the main, baby. And I would have him go over on Rusev right there because now they have Rusev as TNT champ, but they just got demoted to TBS.
Yeah,
so that's going away and being the TV title. You know what I mean? They're going to have to rebrand it. That's going to look less than they have these little opportunities, man. But they're so stuck in the Atlanta Real Housewives of Atlanta mindset that they don't think about how to do this. And to be honest with you, they don't know how to promote. Who on their staff has run indie shows, has run small territories. You know, a couple ECW guys, Jerry Lynn and those guys would know what the fuck is going on, but they're not going to step up and step out of line in order to do it. And you got Dustin's school in Texas, don't you?
It's in Austin. Yeah, that's why they're running Austin. They're doing Austin. They're doing Garland. I'm not calling it Dallas. It's fucking Garland, which is west of or east of Dallas. Fuck that shit. It's not Dallas. Doing that bullshit. And then I think they're running like San Antonio or something. I don't. There's
how about you got Thunder Rosa's gimmick there?
Yeah, that's in San Antonio.
Along with SWE. Yeah. You got Stevie Ray, HMG's own property to represent to hype. And I think we're going to actually reach out and try and do something because Stevie Ray's operating in this gray area where he's doing good business for Callis and Impact. We had Adrian Yanez on from right there from Houston to hype UFC 262.
Right.
I think Stevie Ray could be a huge help there as well, man. But if you're not going to use the pieces that are on the chessboard already, and you're just like, nah, I'm going to do my own thing, well, that shows you're pretty myopic in a lot of your business views. And it doesn't surprise me why your show got demoted to TBS and your soccer team got demoted to the indie leagues, and why you're 1-15 hiring quarterbacks that aren't going to get you any closer. Like, I mean, I'm no Booker of the Year, fellas, but
and you hired a quarterback who's now going to try to play tight end for for a year contract.
So yeah, we've got a lot of opportunities here, but WWE's been doing this snake shit a lot longer than they have.
Well, and here's the smart thing they did. They did Fort Worth as the pay-per-view, and then the next night Dallas as the next Raw. So, I mean, you're only traveling 30 miles down the road, and you're hitting a massive amount of money between the two cities. Fort Worth has a shit ton of money. I don't know if people really know this or not. They call it the Cowtown or whatever. But there's a shit ton of money in Fort Worth, and it's been neglected for so long. And now having this Dickies Arena and doing that, you're pulling so much money for, like, where I live. There are millionaires out here who own horses and shit. And they're
not the niche wrestling demographic.
Honestly, it's surprising because
you never know. When
I did post-ring for New Japan, I did it out here, and people were taking that and they were going, "Holy cow, this is coming to us!"
Well, they got all that money out there. You need to find us a couple marks so we can open our own. You got to find us our Tony Khan, and we'll beat the shit out of both of them, bro.
Hey, all right.
Rednecks are still rednecks, man. Doesn't matter how much money you got, dude. Rednecks are still rednecks.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah. So
I don't want to hijack your show, man, but I enjoy the shit. I do want to hijack your show. That's what I do.
You did.
I really enjoyed this first hour of SmackDown last night. I was extremely surprised. I mean, the first part, the parade shit, the champions was dumb as fuck. Like, that was bad.
Although I did like Paul Heyman coming out and shitting on it. That was great. He was like, "You're a title holder. You're a title holder. You're like fuck you. You're cool. Fuck you." But no, this is a champion. He's a champion. He's not going to be out here. Fuck that guy. That was great. Other than that, it was just stupid. But it was the whole purpose was to promote the idea that we're back. We're going to be in crowds. We're going to be home. We're going to be. That was the whole purpose for it. I didn't like it, being because it looks stupid,
Yeah, I mean, Sonya Deville's trying to deliver, but it's coming off kind of false. Heyman did save it. I don't know what's, dude. The whole thing with Apollo Crews to me is becoming so laughable because you can get me for cultural appropriation and stereotypes, which is my bread and butter, and I'm never going to change. I love that shit. But this guy, because he's an African American, he's an American, but above all, but now he's totally cultural appropriation of what his ancestors' country are to a stereotype. Nigeria. I'm going, wow, bro.
Yeah.
Even me looking at that as a total stereotype gimmick, I go, this guy, he's almost taking it to a satire level of stereotype. To I don't know if it's the fuck you or it pops Vince, like that's how far they want him to go. But I'm looking at him, I am just shocked that he hasn't been zapped yet. You know what I mean? By cancel culture, because they don't want to come at a black guy during a Black Lives Matter thing. But dude, we're like, if you can do that stereotype, there's no reason I can't be on WWE TV.
Exactly.
Doing what I'm doing now. You know what I mean? So that was the one thing that keeps sticking out to me week after week. Like, just when you think he can't turn up even more A's on the end of something, he's going an extra 10 seconds on it. So to make it just a kind of maybe a goof on The Office, or maybe it's popping them and he's doing it more. I don't know, but the question remains, the cultural appropriation, even by a black man, is it wrong? And do Nigerians feel some kind of way? And then they're like, fuck Nigerians at the end of the fucking day to get this guy over with Commander Aziz, who's obviously not Nigerian.
Yeah, I know.
That shit pops me to no end, bro.
Well, which is funny because, I watch with my 15-year-old, and he's like, why the hell is the Commander Aziz guys? He's not even Nigerian. And I mean, and he goes, he's wearing a Marine jacket with sergeant stripes and a command. He's like, this uniform makes no sense. Like, my son is just tripping the shit out of this. The whole Commander. Why is he holding the spear upside down? Why is, the point is that's not how you hold a spear. It's so hilarious to listen to my 15-year-old just shit on this when he comes out, this whole gimmick, and he's just like, why is he trying to do an accent? I mean, I saw him right before, like the month before they did this, he had no accent, and then all of a sudden he has a magic accent, which he can't keep. If my 15-year-old is pointing this out, that's bad. I mean, but it's almost to the point now, like you say, where it's almost comical that it's doing so. Yeah. I have to wonder if that's the whole point. Are they trying to make fun of it?
Does it pop Vince? And if it pops, it doesn't matter what the fuck for anybody else, dude. And I think that's to the point of where we are. But it is amazing, a guy who, as Uha Nation, unbelievable athlete. Take nothing away from Apollo Crews' athleticism, work in the gym. Yeah. You see money written on him, good-looking guy. But he couldn't find his voice at all in his whole run. This comedic overblown, at least I'm seeing so much more commitment to the bit. Mm-hmm. And that's when you're doing, these types of ethnic bits, you really have to, you can't half-ass it. You got to go hard in the paint. So I'm seeing more charisma-wise, which, no matter if we switch out of something in a year or two from where he is now, he at least may have found something in himself as a performer of what he's capable of. Right. You know what I mean? So there is that positive aspect that I see out of it, but man, it is rugged.
Yeah, let me ask you this question. So as a performer, since you do this kind of stuff, can he transition to a babyface with this character, or does he have to transition out of? So does he go back to being Apollo Crews, or is this something that he can continue as a babyface? Is there a way you can see that?
I think they'll just shorten it to Apollo like they do everything else. And that's enough God style. And even though he's not Greek, maybe he'll become Greek. Who knows?
GGP will be his new Commander Aziz. GGP.
Right. Obviously, there's got to be a small story where he turns on Commander Aziz or vice versa. You know what I mean? Along those lines. And then can split out and do a shoot on The Office of all the shit they made him do to be comical and be the anti-hero Austin style of, you fucking wanted me to do this shit and now, but I'm so much more than that, along those lines. So there is opportunity for him to transition out of Nigeria and do other things, absolutely. But this could be like you said, this is him getting on the bike with training wheels, being able to find his voice, and where we can go from there is interesting.
Yeah. All right. So I guess we have to talk about the 6-woman tag. Do we have to? I mean,
dude, I got to put it over, man. I've done a lot of shitty 6 matches. Like, it's one of my specialties. And I've seen a lot of OVW dark main events where Punk would come back and he couldn't be on the show because he's on WWE TV. So in the 6-man dark, they'd set everything up. This was a quality 6-woman dark where the story was very interesting to me. And what I mean by that, not the characters and what's going on, the story of the match, because when we say we're going to work an arm story or something like that, that's what I mean, right? So the girls were really on time, which I was super shocked with everything. With the some people call it a waterfall, some people a shotgun, of where you hit somebody with something, they fuck off, somebody feeds in, walk. But the shotgun was built around falsies and interrupting pins. We saw Bailey take the fucking big gimmick, 1, 2, grab the rope like a heel should, tag, pull her out, put her in the sharpshooter, in feeds in, cut that off. It was a waterfall or shotgun of cutoffs in what would be finishers in a very interesting way, and all of them were pretty much on time, where usually we can get somebody to fuck something up. You know what I mean? Like, there's going to be air in something, or there's going to be whatever. I was very, very impressed with this women's 6. The intensity was there. It's what you wanted in the beginning to kick off a show after that parade of asinineness, whatever that was. And I liked it, dude, to be honest with you. So as critical as I can be of the girls' division, a lot of times they were on point in this one. I don't know about, there's a couple things people pointed out. You got EST wearing pink, and Natty's out there. Like, in the day, bro, that would get you so much fucking heat in the locker room. Like if you were to do something like that, like everybody knows Heart Foundation is pink and black, right? So even though they were on the same team and tagging, not a good look, dude. Not what people should do. And EST, I'm sure she probably knows that. You don't get that far in this business without knowing. But if she doesn't, believe me, Natty felt some kind of way about it when she saw her, and whether she gave her the Iggy on it or not, I'm not sure.
Yeah, and I guess the start was hard for me because I didn't understand what interests Nia Snacks and Baszler had to attack. When Bailey was attacking EST, I don't understand what their purpose was. So, and then you come back from a commercial, and then it's a 6-woman tag,
right?
And so getting into it was hard for me. But then when it got to the end, that's when I began to appreciate it because I'm like, okay, all right, they're on this here. Somebody's going for a sharpshooter or something. Wow, this is actually really, really good. But it took almost getting to the end for me to kind of get into it. I mean, that's why I struggled with it. Is like I wanted to like it, but man, it took too long for me to get.
This is the matches we've seen since WrestleMania. It's just how do we freshen or switch it up, and they don't do a great job with that creatively. It's just out of nowhere a cold match to open. I totally get what you're saying, but it could have been a lot worse. You know what I mean?
True.
If they would have come through the curtain, I would have told every one of those girls that was good work. You guys flowed together. I know this was mismatch and it's cross business, but everybody got their individual things over. Like I can't remember what the falsie was during that shotgun, but when they pulled her out of the ring and fucking got into it on the outside to fuck off for the finish, everything was just there timing wise. And I've been a part of some real bad ones, and I've been a part of some real good ones.
Yeah.
I've been pleased to be a part of that one.
Yeah, it was Bianca was going for like where she was going to pop off the rope with the handstand, and Bailey grabbed her. That was smooth. That was smooth. I was thinking, damn, that was very good. Where she pulled her, got her out under the ring, and they were out there.
And that was the third spot that told the story of this match is about cutoffs. Right. And that's a rare story that doesn't get told. Usually it's a work your knee, work something along those lines. Like Serena and Velvet on AEW told a great knee story and Heat. Like if you watch that this week, I mean, best on the show. But this told something that I haven't seen a lot before. So as a wrestler and a producer, I thought it was very well done. And I think that's Tyson Kidd.
Yeah. So he's got to be, because you figure he's probably got a lot of input knowing what all they can do, especially with Natty. Because that was then Natty I think does a drop kick to Bailey because she was trying to get back involved, and then that's when she gets grabbed with the clutch to make the tap. I just found it interesting that because of that gives them a Raw. On Raw, they're going to have a tag team match.
This is week 9 of that same fucking match, bro. I mean, they got a big problem in that women's division of coming up with something new and how to get people over. And then what are you going to do? Put Carmella and Eva back out there? Those two girls aren't ready to do what we just saw in this match. There's no way they can have that timing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Bailey's hair looked cute. I thought she looked a little sexier tonight, man, to be honest with you. So, and
ding dong.
So, that was a good solid opener that I was like, wow. And it got the pace going. It really fucking put us from first gear into fourth gear, right? In the first 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
Right.
Which is why, to me, they should have started off with that, not that stupid Parade of Champions bullshit, just
that could have been extra from the show. They needed time, and they went home 2 minutes early.
Yeah.
So ended in 9:58. So people either missed their times or the booking of things weren't there, and that thing on the front end might have been added at the last minute after the show was booked, because they said, shit, we got 6 minutes to fill. And even that didn't go long enough in order to, you know what I mean?
Well, I agree. That's been a consistent problem with SmackDown. I've noticed that they end like at 57, 58, 56 consistently. That has been a consistent problem with SmackDown. It's like oh, it's 8:57. What the hell? Why are they off the air? I mean, they still got 3 minutes, and then then the local news is having to scramble and run because it's Fox for us, so our Fox News starts at 9, and they're running 3-minute promo packages for their news, which I don't want to see. So it just kills everything on the back end for me, and so it makes me go
right. They cut. I was the feed I was stealing was New York City, so I went right from that to Jews and Palestinians fighting in the streets. I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess we're gonna have another match here. Right. Man, go ahead, Rob.
Yeah.
No, I mean it's frustrating because you have WWE who's been doing this for 60 years. I mean, they should know how to time out a show. There's enough people there that have done this for so long.
Yeah.
And especially with a big client like Fox, you need to be on point so you're not pissing off the fucking affiliates. And it's just.
Well, I got a couple things to say in there because the guy who booked them, Jacob Allman, that we had meetings with, is a super fan, and he is easily controlled by them. And we tried to warn him. And he's like, we know about all these problems, but we have hopefully positive solutions. Their solution was Heyman and Bischoff. Well, how'd that work out for you? Yeah. So they've got him right where they want him. And will the affiliates be hot? Probably. But, dude, and you're right. They have done this 2 or 3 times in the last month or two of going home early and not having their shows timed out, which means somebody who hasn't done it is probably in position there and keeps kind of missing and understanding, all right, we're headed towards that, but I'm going to need 2 more minutes from you guys in the middle because we came up short. They're not able to move their chess pieces on the fly so they can hit their time at the end if need be from their veteran performers, or like this match, I can tell the ref, we need you guys to grab a hold as we go to commercial to pull 2 more minutes. So that's, but I'll tell you what, heat's not on the boys in the ring.
No.
Unless they because the refs are so mic'd that there's no way that they're just taking it home early. There's a lot of tension in that Kevin Dunn booth right now, and it's on somebody, bro. And what's even worse than that, and this has happened a couple times, but last night was one of the worst since maybe August and October. And there is an HMG follower and fan who did work for WWE and was furloughed, who has sent me emails outlining this, that there is somebody there who is terrible at their job production wise, who thinks they're fucking way up here. The sound mix last night on last night's show was horrific, like firing offense bad. And it wasn't like if it was in one segment and they got the Iggy to like fix this shit now, or somebody's going to get their fucking dick chopped. There was 3 segments that were ruined, maybe even 4, based on how loud the fake crowd noise was, on the scene work and even commentary. I'm glad we're on twitch.tv/Hami Media where I can play music and don't have to listen to how bad the sound mix was, because I have a degree in sound engineering as well. And this guy, who is a great HMG follower, I'm not going to stooge him off, they all know it, and he named the dude to me, and this guy thinks that he's fucking can do no wrong. Meanwhile, you got a live TV show being ruined by a nameless, faceless hack who can't get a fucking mix right. So from now on, we're calling him DJ Deaf Guy.
Yeah, because I mean, that's been my number one complaint since starting the show, is that the sound mix for the crowd has been just the shits.
Every week.
Every week, which is sad, because like then you have your next segment, which is Baron Corbin and Shinsuke Nakamura, and Eric Bugenheim, which they now call Rick Boogs, comes out and does the whole guitar bit, which I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty. I loved it. I thought it was so great, seeing Boogs give that thing, and just Baron's like, I want my crown back. This is not how you treat a crown. And then you have Shinsuke come out, and you're having this guy play the electric guitar, play his theme, and just make him a bigger than life character, which was so much more fun. That's the Shinsuke I want to see, that I like from New Japan, And so I'm seeing that same charisma without him having to talk or do the things. He's able to communicate that with his body and with the song, and have this guy Bugenheim, and then they use it in the match to distract Baron Corbin, which, hey, I was good for it, because
I was too, man. He got over in his entrance with this new guy, know, and I didn't really watch him in NXT, so I'm not super familiar.
Yeah. He wasn't there very long.
He's got charisma all over him. I mean, there's money there now. And what Shinsuke's doing with the Crown, the pre-tapes where he's driving and doing all this shit. He's got the cat, and like that made me fucking laugh. That's good tongue-in-cheek Instagram stuff. As much as I bitch about Braun Strowman trying to out himself as a bear, doing Daisy shots or whatever the fuck, like in the complete 2 days before he goes into a main event triple threat with killers, you know what I mean? Like, oh, you're fucked. You're on the shelf. You don't know how to use social media at all. Or Alexa Bliss snuggling with her boyfriend or fiance. Meanwhile, she's supposed to be a demon satanic child. Like, you're fucked. You don't give a shit about your business. What Shinsuke did is the perfect use of social media and how to get your storyline over and show the office that, like, I'm going to take anything you give me and get even more out of it using the tools I have at my disposal. But I got to put this out there. As good as that was with, I'm going to call them boobs. Get me boobs, and talent and charisma. I think Elias needed him a lot more than Shinsuke does. And he looked like Elias. He fucking can play guitar. So we either start with him on the same side of the fence in this scene, and Elias, because Riker isn't adding anything except, sound guy. And now the band is back together and they look like it. You could even call him Elias's cousin or whatever if you wanted to. And then from there, we have the classic, who's the front man of the rock band? You know what I mean? Where they're trying to one-up each other. They can both be heels on the same side, keep winning. And we have some cool music shit, man. You could even get the girl from NXT there who does the opening, the blonde with the guitar too. So now we've got 3 guitar gimmicks with play, but they're all over the place and they're not connected in any way. Elias really needed him to be a shot in the arm to restart him, and that would have been way more money long term. This short term little pop to get Shinsuke over works, and we can still go that way, but you only get one chance to make a first impression. And I think it might have been, and I could be wrong, it might have been a stronger choice to start him over there. But what he did for Shinsuke's thing really did help a lot. And dude, Baron Corbin, he might be on the B12. I'm not sure, but he has worked his ass off. I was super critical when he was Skullet Barrett Corbin, and and I'm not really into the Game of Thrones things, man. But what he's doing, he's turning chicken shit into chicken salad as best he can, and he looks good. And as a natural athlete, Golden Gloves boxer, he's definitely got it now. He's on things. He knows where he needs to be. He knows how to work for the camera. He's got all the skills to take his game to the next level.
To me, it felt like when he got this King Corbin gimmick, that's when he really found that his voice as a character. It felt like he didn't know what he was before then, and then now he's this King Corbin guy, and then he embraced that. It made him reinvigorate him, because that's when you begin to see the body change. Just begin to see the character change, the work in the ring.
I mean, they put that on him 8 months after Game of Thrones ends, right? Instead of the 2 years before it does in season 4 and 5, when it would have actually been House Corbin or whatever, and that shit was like. That's just how they miss their window every single time, bro. They're so behind what's cool. And then when you do something like that, they look like Johnny Come Latelys of a 75-year-old guy was just giving the Iggy on a show that's been around for 8 years. Like, come on, man.
Yeah. So, I mean, as far as the match goes, though, I mean, honestly, I wasn't as invested in the match because I was more concerned with the ins and outs of the entrance of it and then the ending of it. The match itself was, to me, I don't know. Like
package roll up is wrestling wins out of nowhere, but we could do a better finish than that. And so it's so Corbin can react off of boobs. Did the distraction, and we have that. So we'll obviously get boobs versus Corbin, and as a filler in between. I think there's a lot more fun stuff they can do to get the reaction out of Corbin. And not beating them clean right out of the gate with something power or choke out or knockout is what you got to do so we can level up to get to that point. It'll be interesting to see if they can keep that fun momentum that we felt with the new debut going forward in the next weeks, all the way to SummerSlam,
Yeah.
Are we tired of seeing Corbin in that kind of comedy role, or that him playing I mean, he's the king, right? But I mean, how long can you carry that gimmick on? Now he's kind of pigeonholed because of the dog food and all that bullshit. Now he's just kind of fodder for everybody.
It could be, but I think him and Shinsuke need each other right now. They're both kind of stuck where their wheels are spinning, and they both have Shinsuke is going to make Corbin better based on his experience. You've got the Emperor thing to play into. So the crown actually, even though it's a stupid prop, if you make them believe in it, that's fine. As long as we're not coming out doing Louis the fucking 14th like they did with Booker and all that fucking shit with the scepter. Like, don't insult my intelligence that way. If you're making it about that and the power struggle back and forth, and Shinsuke's getting to do all of his crazy faces and takes and shit like that, that's good stuff, man. It really is. And then the thing that we need from Corbin is the angry Lannister reaction, where he gets fucking outsmarted by Boobs, who's the court jester now. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And Shinsuke can just do all little crazy faces and takes to keep him on edge like that. So it's not the highest level thing, but those mid-card storylines are what I loved in the 80s and WWE and early 90s. I didn't give a shit about Hogan and Savage, to be honest with you. I loved what Mr. Perfect was doing. I loved what Rick Rude was doing. I loved all that shit, what Brett was doing, way more. And those guys got to a higher level. Unfortunately, two of them passed away before they really could have been the top guys. But that stuff was always more interesting to me. And maybe that's just me, but that's where this is kind of starting these guys out of solidifying them in, Yeah.
Well, if you remember sorry, John, if you remember the kingship in the 80s was a big deal. Yeah, you had Haku and Duggan fighting over. Then Macho Man made a fucking other gimmick on it. He was already over.
That's really what we're doing right here, right? Yeah. This is the reinvention of that, and it's working. And those guys got to another level based off of making that work. So
and so I mean, I guess we need to talk about the Roman Reigns segment with him and Jimmy Uso, and
so that this whole show was, I mean, aside from the parade of champions, this I looked up, I was like, oh, dude, we're about 20 minutes in. We were 40 minutes in
right
after that, and I'm like, holy shit, this first hour is cooking. Usually it's like pulling teeth, So up until this segment, which Reigns looks like, he is a star. Like the way he's looking out now and whatnot. And even though we have an Undertaker 6-minute entrance to full time, dude, he looks like a star. It looks great. And this is where the show really slowed down, though. And I think they slowed it down and killed their own flow. They really had to get the flow of the show back here. Was the Sonya Deville Jimmy Uso promo right before this?
Yeah.
Yeah, so very cool shirt backstage with the Afonseca and the old 8-bit shit. I like that. But this was good to make Jimmy, and I knew what the business was coming, that we were going to have the scene where Jay has to go and fucking tell Roman that after they have their own little thing. So that was 3 good part scenes. The babyface brother sets up the match. That's a great opportunity for them next. And we're setting up a match for next week, not the main event. I go, thank you, instead of making matches on the fly that are going to pay off on the same show. They pushed it to next week to further the business. Right. Then we knew we were going to have the Jimmy and Jay fall out of like, bro, what the fuck are you doing without asking Roman and going into business for yourself? Then Jay's got to go tell Roman and deal with the heat for his brother and get the pass along. And there is no we. There's this is we.
This is we. Yeah,
brother, you're going to do it. Like, that was pretty good scene writing, man. I must say that was good. 3 good little scenes right there.
Yeah, because it was so after the Shinsuke matches where we had the Deville, Jimmy, and then you have the in-ring where Romans comes in, and then after that, because it was I don't think they knew because they were in ring. So that's when Jay, and then after this segment, that's when Jay goes and says, hey, we got a match. We got the Street Profits. We're gonna get them that smoke. He's like, man, I gotta tell Roman. I can't. What are you talking about? And so
he's like, I gotta tell Roman I owe it to him at least to tell him that my brother booked me in a match without your approval.
Sure.
Yeah. Which we're seeing. I love. This is what I like. Is we're seeing that yo-yo. He's trying to decide. Well, is my brother the person I need to lead into, or is Roman the guy I need to? I mean, who you see this confliction between them, which he doesn't necessarily say with his voice. You see it with his face. That's why I really like this storyline. It's actually become very compelling for me because you're seeing this emotion where this one guy is like, he's almost brainwashed in a sense where he's like, Roman's the guy. I got to go tell Roman. But then he hears his brother and he's like, but he's my brother. It's to me, it's great storytelling right now.
It's very Shakespearean. It's very Mafia Sopranos in my opinion. Bro.
Yeah.
And those are two things that I absolutely love: the high, well thought out drama, and the sub storyline that has as much stakes as anything title wise does. Right. So there's going to come a time where Jay has to decide to put the bullet in the back of his brother's head based on what comes down from the Godfather, or he's going to have to flip and do the righteous thing in order to do that and say no to Roman. And then what does that mean? Or Jimmy is going to have to be the one who goes from baby to heel, fucks over Jay, and takes his spot at the side of Roman, and you didn't see it coming. Either way, those are all three great choices to have on the board. And whichever road you go down, a lot of times I say we make choices that aren't the strong ones. All three of those are great setup opportunities in which way you want to go. So this is very, very good, well thought out writing. And it's got to be Paul Heyman, bro, to be honest.
Yeah, it's got to be. So in this segment, we see that, Roman talks and Cesaro comes out. But the whole point was to set up Seth Rollins coming back to just continue to beat the shit out of Cesaro. Really more than anything else, the
douchebag jacket thing. He's not, and again, this is where it fucking slows things down.
Yeah.
We get things going, and then we overbook these things. Like you just got to let the drama settle. Nobody wants to be watching Sopranos and then have a run-in from Oz. You know what I mean? It doesn't fucking make sense. So they step on their own business, and maybe that's to save Cesaro from himself of not being able to get over on the mic. You know what I mean? But even later when they're wheeling him out on the stretcher with the neck brace on, and he's like, "You made me do this. You brought this out." Like, that shows to me he doesn't know his character's id and why he's doing things.
Right.
So again, here we are, Iowa's own Seth freaking Rollins, the Beast Slayer, the Man's Man, the Messiah, the fucking douchebag jacket, the fucking black glove, the whatever it is. To me, that goes much like Apollo. This guy doesn't know what his voice is, bro. Maybe he needs to be from Nigeria. Figure it out too, bro. Hey, man, I wanted to say thank you. I got to jump off here, but I just wanted to get my shit in like I always do, because I thought this episode of Smackdown had a lot more promise. Now, are people going to be tuning in based on being up against NBA playoffs and shit like that and hockey? I don't know. But the effort, especially from the girls, was very impressive, and the storyline interwoven throughout with I am the head of the table, the tribal chief, was much better, dude. So everybody looked like a star, and I was glad to see that. Let's see if they can do it again next week or on Monday, you guys. But appreciate you guys. Smack attack, and keep doing your thing, y'all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the run-in. You're always welcome to run in anytime. So if you want to smack a Scottish guy in the face sometime to come do it, you're more than welcome to.
Well, give me book at your indies, $5. I'll slap the shit out of you.
Yeah, I ain't nobody's. Hey, I ain't Smackdown's bitch, and I ain't nobody's bitch. So I'll help you make money. That's all I'm gonna do. So
all right, go Texas. I'll see you later. Right. Thanks a lot, Rad Rob, on the Rewind. Check it out, you guys. Plenty of shows going your way. All at patreon.com/Hameen Media Group. Yalla.
Thanks, Ben. Appreciate it, brother. Wow. I mean, a special run-in on a smack attack from the Ayatollah himself, the one and only Ben. That was great. I always love hearing his insight.
Yeah, no, and it helps because there was, like I said, there were some things like with the women's match. It took me a while to get into that, but to know that I did see some things that were good. And let's be honest, he's in the business. He's doing what he's doing. He has a gimmick. He knows what he's going. He's much more of an expert at this than I am. I'm just a regular schmo who's just been watching this for a while. And so, but to know that I'm kind of picking up some of the same things that he is really good. As you said, this is where the show kind of slows down a little bit, where we have this Rollins things, then we have the Robert Roode versus Dominic, thing after the whole Rollins. We made me do this, and then you have Rude say, "Oh, hey, by the way, take your son to work day is over." It's like what kind of stupid ass comment is that? They've already beaten you for the titles.
Yeah.
You ding dong. Why are you like trying to be like, ooh, you don't belong here? He just beat you for the titles. So obviously he belongs. It's like it's dumbass writing like that just makes me go, what the hell, guys? Come on.
They take us up here with Roman, and then they lower the bar with Seth, and then they really lower the bar with that line from Brood. I laughed because it's kind of funny, but you're right. What did that say about you if you just got beat by them?
Yeah. I mean, at a pay-per-view for the titles that you no longer own, so it goes back to, once again, we're seeing another iteration of, the guys going, okay, we're going to do this match. We're not going to necessarily do this tag team match right away. We're going to do Dominic versus Rude. And then next week, probably like Ray versus, Dolph, this stupid shit. No, let's have the rematch and get it over with. And let's move on.
It's the same formula, dude. It's just like the beginning of the show. Like, how many times have you seen a promo on Raw where, every 6, 7, 8 people come out, we come back for commercial, it's a fucking, 8-person match or a 6-man tag. Mm-hmm. It's the same old formula that WWE has been using for a while. And you're right, next week it probably will be Ray against Dolph. But as far as the match goes, I thought it was all right. I think not watching Dominic for a while, because like I said, I'm not watching every week.
Mm-hmm.
And Rude looks like a fucking $1 million.
Oh yeah,
he's in stupid good shape. I thought Dominic looked great. I thought his timing was good. I think he's getting a lot better in the ring. I like the fact that him and his dad are the tag team champions. I would have saved that for when they go on the road, because that, or at least for Money in the Bank, because that should have been a moment that fans should have been there for. And that's I got kind of pissed off that they wasted that pop in the fucking Thunderdome.
Yeah, exactly. But once again, this is, I think, WWE. I don't think they really knew they were going to start touring until probably this last week, where they got everything finalized because they got these 3 shows booked in. Yeah. So it's like they're probably kicking themselves like, oh shit, we should have saved Ray and Dominic, our first father and son tag team ever in history, and we could have done it in front of a live crowd, and we fucked it. But we didn't even know we were coming, because all of us, AEW came out 2 or 3 weeks before last, 2 or 3 weeks ago, saying we're going to tour Texas, and this is where we're going to be. And then now all of a sudden this week, Friday, literally the news dropped Friday before SmackDown that all these news releases had it, and then so Friday they're saying, hey, we're going to be on the road, in mid-July, and so all of a sudden it's like now we have live shows. So then you have to wonder, from this point forward, knowing that by mid-July you're going to be on the road, you have Money in the Bank in Fort Worth, you've got a live SmackDown in Houston, you have a live SmackDown at Dallas. What are they going to wait? So is the storytelling going to come to a halt because we want to wait for those live crowds to get those pops? Right. And so that's my only concern about they've announced that we're going to have live shows, is that we might see a hitting of the brakes on some of these storylines, because we want to save the pop for the crowd, and that's my only concern right now, because it's mid-May right now. That gives us basically 2 months to get ready for that. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. Since WrestleMania, SmackDown has been a lot better with their storytelling, their pacing, and the sense of the way the show flows. Like Ben says, you look up and it's like, oh, we're 40 minutes in. Okay, cool. Granted, they have their slowdown spots, but it's been moved along really, really well. They've done a lot of different things as far as the promos go. Less heavy on the front end promo, 10, 15, 20-minute promos on the front end. More where they're tying into that next match. Things along those lines. But at the same time, too, that means we've got live shows coming. Oh, shit. Maybe we should, wait off on this thing or wait off on that thing. And I'm going, like the J. Jimmy, thing. Does that mean that's going to get held off until mid-July?
Well, how do you do that, though? That's the problem.
Exactly. They've kind of already worked themselves into a corner because they're already building everything. How do you keep that going till mid-July? That's my concern, is like they're going to kind of fuck themselves as far as story goes on how to kind of do these things. And so I don't know. It's stuff like, it's going to be the mid-card stuff that they're going to need to do. That's why I think they need to start incorporating. You got Alpha Academy. You've got these other tag teams. Let's start working them back into what's going on. Let's start building this Baron Corbin Shinsuke thing. Let's start doing some of these lower card things to help us get to where we need to, so that if we have to pull off some of these things, or we can build slower on some of the J. Jimmy stuff or the other things, that would be the ideal thing, really. But you have to start building the mid card. You have to start building the other tag teams. You have to be incorporating all those kind of stuff. So, which is where, I'm hoping that they get that from this. So, and then the match itself was good. Dominic, as you said, he's gotten a lot better. I mean, that he's essentially getting on the job training.
Really is.
Yeah. You think about when he started to where he is now, he's just getting on the job training, and I thought, honestly, it was wise. I thought they brought him up and they would kick him to NXT to really get his training. And they haven't. He's stayed on the main roster. He's been doing this thing. They've been using him. And in that process, though, he's been getting better. He did train at Lance Storm's Academy, which Lance Storm's Academy has been known to produce a lot of WWE ready caliber talent. So that was probably a big help for Dominic coming in. And the fact that Ray, told Dominic to go there. To me, that says a lot when you have someone like Rey Mysterio who trained your son, but then said you need to go to Lance Storm to get trained. That says a lot to me. And so Ray probably told him too, hey, you're up here, but you just shut up, keep your mouth closed, listen and learn, and just keep working. That's probably the advantage Dominic has, is that his dad's right there telling him how to navigate the locker room, how to talk, what to do, what to say, what not to do, what to say. So that's a big advantage for him. So now then we have the Jay walking into Roman Reigns' locker room to tell him about the match. So how'd you feel about this one, Rad Rob? How'd you feel about this one?
I mean, you knew it was coming, right? Like he told his brother, I got to tell Roman, I owe it to him and all that. He knows he's probably going to get a talking down to, or he's going to get put in the corner in a timeout. He's definitely dreading going in and having to tell Roman. And they played it off perfectly. That's exactly what it was. He goes in there. He says, hey, man, I didn't know my brother booked this match with Sonya, and Roman's like, come on, man. Like, who are you for? Like, he is the Godfather, like Ben said. You did that without my approval. What Roman should have said was, I'll deal with Jimmy later, which I don't think he said, but I like the way this played off, that, Jay is still a pawn, in Roman's game. And I'm really excited to see where this goes, because nothing is better to me than tension between family or tension between brothers. That's always been a storyline that has worked throughout the years. When they broke up tag teams, between two guys, you'll always get that one match like Shawn Michaels versus Marty Jannetty, or Owen Hart and Bret Hart. Owen Hart and Bret Hart were brothers. And that's why that angle was so freaking fantastic and had some of the best matches you'll ever see. That cage match at SummerSlam was ridiculous. And whenever you have blood brothers, especially breaking up or having tension, that's money, dude. That's money all day long, because you're invested in them, right? And they've done such a great job with. And Paul Heyman has to have his fingers all over this. It's the best thing going in wrestling today. I really like this segment. It played out the way I thought I did. But even though when it's predictable, when it's executed well, it's still enjoyable to watch.
Yeah, and that's what that was the exact. I love the part where he goes like, he's telling, man, I had nothing to do with this. It was Jay and Sonya, but we have a tag team match next week. And he goes, we. What's this we? What's this we? We're we. That ain't we. We're we. And he gives him that, like, it was in a way of like the disappointment, but like that hug, like, hey, I still love you, but I'm disappointed. He grabs him by the head, pulls him in, like, I love you, but like, it's that kind of, but I can still F you up if I need to. Like, remember who I am, kind of thing. Because he has that look, and he like that's the thing that Jay does so well. He gives this puppy dog, I don't know what to do look. So when he was talking to Jimmy earlier, he had that look like, I don't know. I got to go tell Roman at least, you know. And then when he's with Roman, he's kind of got this head down, you know, beta. I don't, you know, when he's explaining the whole thing, he's not even looking Roman in the eyes. He's kind of, you know, that's he's just, you know, shifting and, you know, well, you know, that was Jay, and then but we have a match, and then what's this we? Saying we, you know, which is such a great line. I mean, Roman delivered it so well. That ain't we're family. We, you know, and he's just talking to him like that. And this is us. This is we. You know, that ain't we. And, you know, and just brings him in and kind of in that, you know, I love you, but you are totally in line here, and I can hurt you if I need to. It was so well done, just brilliant. And like you say, it's got to be Paul Heyman. You know, I mean, he has made this storyline great. He saved the first segment. Let's be honest with you.
He did.
I mean, to bring it back to that. So, God, whatever they're paying that man, they're getting everything and more from it, because he has been such a bright spot for this storyline, and just being with Roman. You know, that whole idea of him, which at first you're like, why does Roman need Paul Heyman? But really,
they went over the history too, though.
Yeah, they did.
Like, I've known your family for 30, 40 years and blah, blah, blah. And they told that backstory of why Heyman's with him. You're like, oh shit, I didn't know that. Right.
Exactly. And that's where they did such a good job. They've laid this background. They told this story. They're doing these things. Because at first you're thinking, why? Why does it? And then they tell, it's like, okay. And then it's not that Roman really needs Heyman. It's just that Heyman elevates Roman. He gives him that sense of, like, he was a star. He was the main event star, but he puts him to that next level. Like, Roman is that, God level video game character that you are going to have to work your ass off to beat. I mean, where some of those games where you're going to rage quit probably 15 times before you finally beat that guy, and then, so that's where I'm kind of like, all right, man, keep paying, Paul Heyman what you're doing, because he's making this thing work. I wonder if, like, he's obviously just must be crafting that part of the storyline, because he can't be involved with all of SmackDown. It's got to be him because, you
can tell. I mean, look at the rest of the show.
Yeah. The rest of it's just kind of all over the place.
I think he's trying to prove a point, John, because, Ben brought up earlier when he was made, the GM or whatever, the writer of Raw. He got a bad deal. I don't think he was allowed to do exactly what he was able to do because Vince is still there.
Yeah.
So when he knew he was getting this assignment, he put his all into this. Like, this is a Paul Heyman that we should have seen when he was in charge of Raw, and he wasn't allowed to be. He had the handcuffs on. This shows you the brilliance of Paul Heyman, and especially when he was writing SmackDown back in 03, 04, 05, around that time, the Ruthless Aggression era. SmackDown was the number one show.
Mm-hmm.
And now that he's on this segment, look what the number one segment on the show is. It's this with Roman Reigns. And that does show you how great that Paul Heyman is. Number two, I think at some point, and I think we're even seeing signs of it, Paul Heyman is still bowing to Roman. Like, Roman allowed Paul to talk and do the promo for him during the in-ring segment. Instead of when Paul's with Brock Lesnar, you knew Paul was the guy that was going to get Brock over.
Mm-hmm.
Roman doesn't need Paul to get over.
Mm-hmm.
Or not on a vocal level. I'm not saying Brock wasn't over. Brock is absolutely over. But on a vocal level, because Brock wasn't a great promo, that's fine. Roman is a great promo when he's allowed to do what he wants to do. We've seen it in the past. I think at this point, Roman is on this level to where he is the head of the table, and Jay and Paul are falling in line. And Paul's almost kind of like almost a fanboy for Roman.
Yeah.
To be quite honest.
This was like last week I was telling James, there was a scene where Roman is talking or whatever, and Paul Heyman's in the background, and he's just like this, like googly-eyed staring at Roman. And I'm like, and I said, I grabbed that picture and I put it up somewhere, and I said, I want someone to look at me like Paul Heyman looks at Roman Reigns, because it's just like, like this lustful look that Paul Heyman, he just hand in his fist like this, just staring at Roman as Roman's talking, and just like,
he's mesmerized. He's mesmerized by him.
That's my bae, so which is so great sometimes. Sometimes just watching Paul Heyman in the background of the segments is worth the money in itself. So,
and he was kind of that way with. I'm sorry, before you get the next one, he was kind of that way with Punk too.
Yeah.
Punk was on this level, and he's like, and they were best friends, and he's just holding the title belt. He's so happy to be part of it. He's so happy to be part of the Punk team and going through the 400 days, whenever he was champion. That's when Paul Heyman is at his best. He got really stale as Brock's mouthpiece because he was just repeating the same shit over and over again. Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
Yeah.
And now he's just he's being the true, just shitty, grimy, promoter that Paul Heyman is. I love it. It's so good, dude.
It's good. So.
And Jay has come a long way. I absolutely love. Jimmy was always the personality of the guys, especially if you watch Total Divas. Jimmy was always the funny guy. Jay really didn't have much of a part in that. Jay has been allowed over the last 6 months or 8 months or so to really step out of his shell and prove that he is also talented as part of this tag team, and it's not all about Jimmy, it's all about Jay too. So I really love what Jay's been doing as well.
Yeah, Jay's been great. Like I said, the whole being able to tell that story of where do I go with the facials, even it's not just the way he says, it's the facials and how he portrays himself. It's been great. So all right, so we have the Street Profits. They're making fun of the Usos. And you said
what do you think of them, by the way? Because I've never been able to talk to you about it. I'm not a fan of the over the top shit that Montez does. Are you a fan of it?
I kind of love it. I kind of do.
Okay.
Because honestly, it's something so different. It's so non WWE that I feel like they just are like, okay, just go have fun, and they let these guys just go for Dawkins and Ford. They just say go have fun. Okay, it's kind of like a better New Day, less annoying New Day in a sense, because they just something about it's the charisma of Ford that really does it for me. He's got so much charisma. A while back, say that they're walking through the crowd and there's that scene where he grabs that baby and starts dancing with the baby. I mean, how can you not love a guy like that? I mean, I'm partially biased, part of my background too is I'm 20 years as a minister. So, when he posts stuff on Twitter, it's like, hey, God is good, stuff like that. So I kind of root for the guy for that other reason. There's just something about the guy that I really like. And it's just so much fun to watch. Their style in the ring is so much fun to watch.
Well, they're fantastic athletes.
Incredible athletes. I mean, that I call it 50-star frog splash that Ford does, man. They're calling it from the heavens now, which is so appropriate.
That's cool. Yeah.
It's so good. But he's such a character and has so much charisma that it oozes out. Just when he's on the screen, it just oozes off of that screen to where you can't not like him. So and that he's so different, because you don't see that same energy and that same love, that same passion from some of these guys. It's just almost like he is so excited to be there and you can't contain it. And that's why I like it, because it's like, so when I first started watching, I asked, I was like, are these Street Profit guys always like this? They're like, yeah, this is them all the time. And I was like, okay, cool. Because I mean, it was refreshing. When you compare it to Rude, you compare it to the Alpha Academy, you compare to even the New Day or some of these other people, they're just different. And I'm a guy that likes different. I don't want to see the same things, cookie cutter things. They don't feel cookie cutter. They don't feel like I know they went through NXT and they went through that system, but they don't feel like they were ever touched by somebody else. That this is who they are as a character, and they know their character, and they've just run with that character for so long that they're letting them do their thing. And that's why I like it. So I'm looking forward to next week, because really that should be a great match. The Usos were always good as a tag team. And then with the Street Profits, this is a new matchup that I think I didn't realize I wanted for a long, long time. So to watch these two go at it is going to be a ton of fun. So I'm enjoying that. And then we have to get to the main event. The main event, which, okay, I mean, I don't mind 4-ways, but, it's so funny because me and my son were just like, okay, who's going to roll out first?
Yeah, exactly.
We're just waiting for the rollouts. We're waiting for whatever, and the stupid spots. And at one point, somebody's going to jump on 3 other people, and all that kind of stuff. So it's a 4-way, and we knew, I'm going, and that for some reason, shenanigans are going to be the reason why Apollo keeps his title. But I did not expect the shenanigans that happened.
I didn't either.
This was, before in the middle of the show, we had a promo from Aleister Black talking about the Dark Father and the lessons he's given, the pain, explaining the tattoos and show. Because up to this point, he's been covered. So he's been doing these promos for the last about 4 or 5 weeks, Rob, where he's talking about the Dark Father and the lessons he's learned, the pain, how he learned fighting and all these kind of stuff. And then this week was talking about the tattoos and the pain that he developed for that. And then he's going to teach this lesson from the Dark Father. And so if you watch the match, it is what it is. But the ending was unique because the lights kind of go out and there's this bright light and you're kind of wondering what's going on. Yep. And then McAfee's like, well, somebody fix the lights. What the hell's going on? And then next thing you know, it's Aleister Black. And Apollo Crews has got a hold of him. And then a Big E. And then he walks into the ring and just black mass, a Big E. And I mean, I don't know if you saw the replay of this.
I did. Yeah.
He hit him. I mean, I'm like, holy shit. Like, I know he's good, but like, damn, that was real good.
That's why I wish Ben was still here for that, so I could ask him, like, how does he kayfabe that kick? I mean, I know you can work a little bit snug, but every time you see the black mass, it's been my favorite finisher in wrestling since he came out. It looks like he literally takes their head off. Like, I've learned from Stevie how you can kayfabe the super kick, but I don't know how you pull back on that black mass, dude. It looks brutal. I would not want to take that move.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. Like, at least from the angles I saw, his foot is connecting with Big E's face.
Yes.
And so I'm going, damn, just damn. And then he walks out the ring, and then Apollo Crews wins, and it's like, okay, why? Is Big E? Is this the new direction? Is Aleister Black wanting to take Big E, who's considered the most positive guy in wrestling, and they want to bring? Has all this been leading up to this moment to spin him out of the Intercontinental to have another mid card feud? Which, if that's the case, I'm kind of here for that. Like, I would love to see that where he's going to start torturing Big E to teach him these lessons that his Dark Father taught him, and then eventually it becomes where this is the feud. You're taking the power of positivity versus the lessons from the Dark Father, and it's that dark and light coming together and fighting, and who's going to win.
And I'm going to add on top of that, I think this is going to result in and I'm going on a limb here, but I think it's going to result in Big E turning heel and becoming a main event monster with the lessons that he learned from Aleister Black. That's where I want to see E going eventually.
Ooh, that'd be
because
good.
He deserves to be in the main event scene, but he's another guy where he's still kind of trying to find his voice. Like, we know he's amazing on the mic. We know he's full of personality, but he's still a little bit in that New Day mode. Even though they gave him a new song and a new presentation, whenever they get back together, it's like good old times again, right? Mm-hmm. You need to separate Big E from his past stuff with New Day and make him his own man. And I think with Aleister doing this, I think that's where they should go and make Big E just a badass monster heel and just fucking tear through everybody. Yeah, he needs to be the Lashley of SmackDown.
Yeah, and I mean, we saw a little bit of that with Apollo in the beginning when he, he hit me with the stairs kind of thing, which we know he did, But we saw a little bit of that where he started to turn into that badass, getting into that golf cart and going, "I'm going to come kick your ass. Where are you at?" Like, screw, like, I know you're in the building. I know we're apart, but he gets in the golf cart and, like, I love that segment. That was great, and him just going straight at him. We see him becoming that badass Mama Jama, but make it the whole time. That's the next direction I think for him is the flip gets switched and. Maybe like you said, Aleister Black, this series of things where they start building against each other, it makes him flip that switch, but it never turns off. So now it's no longer the power of positivity. It's just this raging monster who's just going to walk through people to get what he wants. And maybe that's how, and James is posited that Aleister Black killed Dark Father and that he's Dark Father. So maybe now Aleister Black becomes Dark Father for, Big E and is kind of the one encouraging him to go around this path and being the Dark Father for Big E. So, which, man, to me, that just means that, man, that'd be a great direction to take the story. That he's, Aleister Black has killed Dark Father and he's taken all these lessons and he's going to make a new disciple out of Big E and he's becoming Dark Father. So, I don't know. There's a lot to do. I mean, once again, it's a Aleister Black thing. We've seen them start him and stop him so many times. I just hope that this is something that sticks. It's interesting. It's intriguing to me.
It is.
I'm interested to see where it goes, but they fucked him over so many times that it's going to be hard. They're going to have to do a lot of work for me to want to be invested into something like this.
He's so good though. I think he can get over again.
You think
just
so?
based on his look, based on how intense he is in the ring, obviously his finisher. I mean, this is the first video I've seen from him on that because, like I said, I haven't been watching. Just that one vignette they had, I was absolutely all in. I was very, very intrigued to see where they take it. Do you think he's gonna be like the new version of a Fiend, like that supernatural kind of character?
I don't know if they're gonna go full supernatural, but I would say more like a dark guru. Because
he had the contacts in, the different colored eyes and all that. So.
Yeah. So he did have that one white contact where just a little bit of the people showing. Yeah, I did notice that, but I think it less like overly supernatural like the Fiend or the Undertaker, more just where there's a sense of mysticism about him, like a dark guru or a dark sage where he's teaching lessons and it seems magical, but it's not really, but it's not over the top. Like that's the thing. The Fiend, I never liked the Fiend because it was so over the top. The Funhouse stuff was okay, but like the Fiend itself, it seems stupid. And it's like, okay, how do you beat somebody if this is supposed to be some demonic, overworldly thing? Then how does that work in the ring? And then he gets beat in the ring all the time, and I'm like,
and then he gets beat by Goldberg in 30 seconds.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, great. What's the point?
Yeah.
I mean, that was the whole purpose of the Undertaker. Was there was such mysticism, and they protected him. The Fiend has not been protected at all, and so this is where I hope it's more of a lesser, supernatural, like just that sage type thing, because it won't be as over the top. So it's more believable. He's still a man. Yeah. He still can be beaten, but there's just something mystical and got that aura about him that just makes you go, but maybe, yeah. Maybe there's something more than what I know. And that's where I hope they go with it.
Well, there is a such thing as black magic. I mean, obviously, that they can tell that story. You being an expert in dealing with mental health, the way I thought they started playing the Fiend and should have kept it going was the fact that he's got a split personality.
Mm-hmm.
And he's conflicted. He's listening to the voices in his head. That's why he had the gloves hurt and heal. And then they did what Vince McMahon always does, and make him a monster, make him a ghost, make him a zombie, make him like Jason from Friday the 13th. He should have been that paranoid schizophrenic guy, where Funhouse Bray and Fiend are always separated, and they're always conflicted with each other. Like, have Bray snap in and out of it during the match. And they didn't follow that. I thought that would have been a perfect way to play that character instead of going back to the Eater of Worlds and all that supernatural bullshit.
Right.
If they would have kept him as a schizophrenic, like the Waylon Mercy character originally, which is what it was, based on, then they could have had money in that, because then he could still be beaten, because that good side could come out for a second and he'd make a mistake and he'd get beaten instead of making him this badass that no-sells everything in that stupid Hell in a Cell match with Seth Rollins. Dude, they fucked over that character from day one. Exactly. And it's very unfortunate, because they could have gone a long way with the guy that was conflicted with the voices in his head. Randy Orton with that stupid-ass fucking song, like, I hear the voice in my head. Come on, dude. Like, that's dumb. Bray was the guy to have voices in his head, and they completely screwed the pooch and ruined it.
Yeah. And how cool would that have been? All of a sudden, he's in the middle of the match. He's Funhouse Bray, but then he turns into, Swamp Bray, Bray, the Wyatt family Bray, or he turns into Husky Harris, or it's almost like he morphs into the different personalities because he can't find himself.
Right.
Honestly, that would be a very cool character for a wrestler who's been multiple things. Especially someone like Bray, where you have this, you don't know what you're getting in the ring, and in the middle of the ring, you think you're fighting somebody, and you're prepared for Funhouse Bray, and then all of a sudden he morphs into the Fiend, who's this just monster. But then after about 5 minutes, he's into Bray Wyatt. He's the Wyatt family Bray, and then all of a sudden he's Husky Harris, and then you're just going like, what the hell am I doing right now? Like, who am I fighting? And honestly, that would be a very intriguing character to watch, to see, because he would be the kind of performer who could pull that off.
Yes.
Where he could play those different characters that is, switching between them, and that's to me, the more intriguing character than the Fiend with the mask. It's just Bray Wyatt with a mask. I mean, okay, great.
They want to sell merch, dude. They want to sell the mask. They want to sell like that stupid ass belt that I don't even know if they sold any of those belts, but they wanted the merch opportunity on that.
Yeah, and that was supposedly Bray's whole thing. That was all Bray, apparently. Yeah. And then Vince loved it and was like, yeah, and this is the guys who been in WWE long enough to know that, hey, if I can pop Vince, then that's all I need to do.
But that was the worst thing he could have done, because then Vince took that and did what Vince normally does with things that he doesn't understand.
Right. Exactly. Whereas the other character could have been a better character and lasted in the long run. But, so that was SmackDown. So overall, I know you said you haven't watched in a while. So, Rob, what did you think? Overall, just when you take everything into consideration, how would you say the show was?
For one, I'm glad it's 2 hours, because, like Ben said, it moves fast. It's much more smooth running than Raw. I have caught a couple Raws lately just to see what's going on, and it's horrible. I can't. 3 hours is way too long, especially when it's a bad 3 hours and it's not even a good 3 hours. But watching this SmackDown, yeah, I mean, I still keep touch, like on YouTube I'll watch some of their videos on their YouTube channel, so I still have an idea of kind of what's going on. I read all the stuff on Twitter. But watching the show, I thought it, other than going early, it was paced pretty well. Other than the Parade of Champions, which they could have cut, I thought it was good. They put more emphasis on stories on this show that I noticed than they actually did the in-ring action. It's almost like the in-ring action was an afterthought. I think they did a good job of building the angles that they want going forward. And it's like you said, it's interesting to see how they pace that out, given the fact that we're a couple months away from them going on the road. They have to get back into that on the road mentality where we're going to be in front of fans again, and we don't want to blow our loads in front of the Thunderdome. We want to kind of, go old school and pace this shit out. That being said, I did enjoy the show. And I actually might start watching again, especially with the Roman stuff, because I'm really intrigued to see where that goes. I do want to ask you, and I want to ask Ben this too, but I didn't get a chance to. What do you think of Pat McAfee as a commentator?
Honestly, I kind of like Pat McAfee because, once again, he's outside the mold of WWE. He feels like he's not being produced by Vince or anything like that. Like when the Boog entrance happened, he's over there and he's just like punching Cole and doing the rock out there. Cole's just doing, So to me, once again, he comes across as genuine, not being produced, not being whatever, which is a threat. To me, I like that. He doesn't necessarily have the technical know-how like Corey Graves did or anything along those lines. But sometimes with some of these stories, I don't need that. I just need someone who's going to, and I love the fact that, he has his favorites, like with Shinsuke, with the whole thing. And like, he's like, Boog, yes, I love Boog. And like, because he'd done some stuff in NXT. So he knows Boog, and so, but then, so but other times it's like, he'll say, but you got to respect the king, he runs that line between going babyface and heel as an announcer, which I like because, it's just like, hey, I'm a fan and, I might like this guy, but I like this. And, as fans, we have, there's times where we like a certain babyface, but then we like a heel better. And so we're talking about it. So to me, I think he brings a sense of genuineness to the SmackDown that, he really. See, that's where I disagree. I think he hasn't been WWE eyes. I think he has really been something different. He's not a Michael Cole. Like, if anything, you hear Michael Cole reacting to him because I'm hearing more from Michael Cole now as far as passion and things with McAfee than I've had in the last 6 months beforehand. Because
it's fresh, and and Graves got into such a overproduced, zone that you weren't getting anything organic from them at all. McAfee kind of plays that wild card with you don't know what he's going to say. Yeah. So I kind of see where media's saying, and Bobo on Twitter said the same thing. He thought the same thing that McAfee is now in the WWE zone. He's getting overproduced, but I agree with you, John. I don't think that's the case. I think he's different. I don't think Cole knows how to react to him, and we're getting more. Right. You're right. We're getting more out of Cole than we normally would when he was just in the just the zombie mode, dude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is the sheet. This is where we're gonna now. Do they have to do their promos? Do they have to do the things that they have? Yes, they have to get.
Of course.
They're gonna have to do that. They're gonna have to come to the table, and he's gonna have to do those things of, hey, this is what we're gonna talk about. Yes, we are listening to the same McAfee media, but he does. But that's the thing about McAfee is I hear him, but he doesn't overtake the programming. So it's not like. At the same time, too, I don't want someone who's going to overtake what I'm watching. I want someone who it highlights certain points. And so when big things happen, it's almost more the case of he's highlighting these points of, oh, that was a big moment. And I'm like, yeah, that was. Okay, cool. And I mean, and yes, I will agree. He's not the same as the first couple of weeks, but at the same time, too, he's not still that same WWE guy. When you listen to NXT, when you listen to Raw, when you listen to these other, they're just monotone. This is what's happening. Oh, wow, this is great, kind of thing. With McAfee, you get that genuine reaction of, holy cow, this is what's happening. And granted, at the end of the day, too, he's working for Vince McMahon. So if Vince McMahon says, don't call it a title, call it a championship or whatever, he's got to try to do the best he can to do that, you know, because at the end of the day, your boss is paying your check. And any one of you who wants to say, well, I won't do what my boss tells me, and then fuck off. You're not gonna have a job for very much longer.
You'll be replaced.
Yeah, you will be replaced. I mean, as much as I like to say that I don't care what people think and I'll do what I want, at the end of the day, I work for a job. I work for a nonprofit. I have an executive director. At the end of the day, I'll give my opinion. I'll do it in a respectful manner. But when she says this is what we're going to do, this is what we're going to do, and I'm going to do it. Whether I agree with it or not doesn't mean anything. It just means I got to follow what my executive director says, and if I don't feel, even if I feel it's not best for what's for our nonprofit of getting the message out of what we're trying to do, I do what she says because she's the boss at the end of the day, and does that mean does that make me a sellout? Maybe, but I like my job. I want to be able to feed my kid. I want to be able to keep the house that I have. So, McAfee is doing, I feel like they're giving him enough rope to be him, but still kind of saying, all right, but don't forget, these are our kind of rules as announcers, and pairing
I'm sure they give him talking points.
But pairing him with a veteran like Cole too, I think helps because you're getting Cole, who's been stuck in that seat for 20 years and just kind of used to everything. You're throwing McAfee in there, and you're bringing new life to Cole because let's be honest, Cole these last few weeks has been a lot more noticeable. And in a lot more personable, I feel, in these last couple of weeks with McAfee going on. So that's me. I love McAfee. I think he's been a shot in the arm for SmackDown. I was glad to see the change. I was surprised, to be honest with you. I like when they first showed up after WrestleMania, I was like, oh, is this like for a one-off thing? And then, as in the episode, they kept saying my new broadcast partner, and I'm like, holy cow, okay, this is all right. And I'm digging this. And it's just been, every week from the beginning for me has been a new effort that I've just really enjoyed. So, but that's me, I mean, and so I would say this show, like, I agree with you for the most part. The opening sucked. Paul Heyman, Paul Heyman saved that opening segment. Once again, I just reminded of that scene. I don't remember what movie it's from where the guy's like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. Yeah. You're cool. Fuck you.
Fuck you.
And Bailey kind of does the same thing where she's like, fuck you, fuck you. Hey, Commander Aziz and Apollo.
Yeah, she's like, what up? What's up?
Bianca, fuck you.
Yeah, I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah, that was kind of good. But other than that, it was a good show. You're gonna have your slow moments. You're going to have your slowdowns and stuff like that. But I feel like they're doing a good job of trying to space those out and pace them. They're not going over. So I have to say, before WrestleMania, Rob, there was so many times where they had so much promo going on, where the matches were not even, matches were 10 minutes, but promos were 10 and 20 minutes long. Like right before WrestleMania, when you had Roman versus Edge versus Daniel Bryan, each one of those guys got 10 minutes in the ring as a promo. That's 30 minutes on a 2-hour show. That's, I'm like going, what the hell? Really? Are they getting 10 minutes each for a promo? And then, because going into WrestleMania, you had the Andre battle, Royal Rumble, which Jay won.
Yep.
And that wasn't even the end of the show. Roman, they had 10 minutes, 15 minutes still. I was like, oh, shit, they ended this, and there's 15 minutes. And then, they went to commercial and come back. I was like, oh, my God, Roman's got 12 minutes to promo. And they still missed the mark by getting off at like 57. They were 3 minutes. They were 3 minutes short, and they had the Rumble, and I was like, and he had 10 minutes to promo. And it was just like, oh, my God. And that was after Edge had 10 minutes, and Daniel Bryan opened the show with a 10-minute promo. And by themselves in the ring. All of them were in the ring by themselves. There was nothing else going. It was just them in the ring, and that's it. So I do have to say they've done a lot better job of making either a promo not last as long or doing backstage segments to make the promo a little bit better and to move it along. And then they are putting more emphasis on the matches. The matches have been a lot better. They've been, and then the building towards those things. So, since WrestleMania, you're getting the good stuff, so I'm sorry. You're getting the good stuff because before WrestleMania, it was awful. I'm talking like I hated doing this every Saturday. So, lucky for you.
Well, other than talking to McIvor, because who doesn't want to talk to him? He's such a slick guy. He's such a good-looking guy. He's got so much personality. That's why I would do the show. Yeah, well,
hey, James, your check is in the mail from Rob, by the way. It's going to take a few weeks to get to him from Nashville to Scotland, but
yeah. What are you going to do?
Well, that's our show. So, before we go, I do want to give our mental health tip for the week. As we always do, thanks to Jackson Stone and You Are Loved, life.com. Jackson Stone, in case you don't know, if you're just listening for the first time, is a Texas independent wrestler, but he's also a mental health advocate, and he's done some audio stuff for us for the show, but also gives weekly tips. And so this week's weekly tip is, basically take 5 minutes a day to put down your phone and turn off all your electronics and just take a moment to just clear your mind and meditate, relax, pray, whatever it is you do, just to turn everything off and just take 5 minutes for yourself to clear your mind. Whatever that is in the day. It's 5 minutes. We're not asking you for an hour and a half or 3 hours. Take 5 minutes, just turn everything off and clear your mind and think about it and just get right with the past. Because sometimes we get so overwhelmed with media and social and our devices and everything that hurts our mental health process in the long run. And so we need to take those 5 minutes to just really reset ourselves. And so be sure to do that. And so other than that, I guess this is the point where you got to do the plugs and all that kind of stuff. So Rob, do you want to start with our plugs this week and how you want to plug everybody, tell everybody where they can find you on the internet and all the various podcasts you got and things like that?
Yes, sir. And again, before I do that, I appreciate you having me on and being able to fill in for McIvor. It was great to talk to you for the first time face to face.
Yeah.
And hopefully we could do maybe some more projects down the road. I'll get you on my retro show and we'll talk some old school stuff. So
heck yeah, dude.
It was definitely fun talking to you today. You guys can find me on Twitter at Rad Rob Gaming. I'm a Twitch gaming streamer, twitch.tv/Rad Rob Gaming. I stream every Tuesday night and Saturday night, 6 p.m. Central. You can also check out my YouTube gaming channel called Rad Rob Gaming. I also host RTW Rewind right here on HMG. We recently changed the format where I used to cover just strictly retro wrestling, and now it's open up to everything else, whether it's movies, TV, politics, commercials, anything like that. We've had Big Ray and MSG on the last 2 weeks talking the evolution of the internet. And the impact that MTV had on all of our lives. RBV's coming up next. We're going to be talking about fast food, the way fast food has changed our lives as well. We're going to take a deep dive into the world of Rick's favorite passion, which is food, which a lot of us are the same way too. So that'll be coming up as well. That drops every Sunday on HMG. We'll be streaming here live on the HMG YouTube channel. And eventually it will be on Realm once we get over there. But you can check it out on the Hameen affiliate feed with all of our other great shows like the New Force Order. You're gonna John will get into his shows too. But that's what I got going on. I also host a separate show called RTW Main Event, which is my kind of comedy / variety show with the Ocho from the Brothers Grappler. That drops every Thursday. That's always a fun listen. we fuck around for an hour and a half. We really don't talk about much. It's an easy listen. And regarding your mental health tip there, John, that is a great tip. And for one, myself who suffers from anxiety and depression late in life, I think it's something I always had, but I never really identified what it was until I got into my 40s. So now I'm on a couple different pills to kind of regulate my serotonin levels and stuff like that. So I do know what it's like to have to, you just get so overwhelmed with everything that's going on. You get you're so used to having a phone right in front of you. Sometimes it takes away from my family or my daughter. And it's like, sometimes, like you said, you just got to stop, drop everything, go into your prayer closet, whatever your habit is, whatever you want to do to kind of clear your mind. That's a fantastic tip. And that's something I'm going to implement going forward. So I'm glad you brought that up. But yeah, guys, we got so much going on here at HMG coming up here with the new branding we're going to have with Vince Russo buying the Realm Network, and we're merging with the brand. We're going to be managing a lot of their content. So hopefully, I think Ben said by June 1st, we should get that rolling. But we're going to have so much more for you guys coming up here. All the talented crew that we have here at HMG, Two Man Power Trip, the brand, all of our main event talent, like the A Show with Aaron Stevens and April Hunter. That's right.
I helped bring them on. I'm actually going to be on their show probably this next coming week, talking mental health and some other things. So
and I'm looking forward to that. But with Rip Rogers, we have the beautiful people, just so many different talented. I don't want to leave everybody out, but you guys know what the shows are. We got a lot more coming up here, but man, that's what I got going on.
All right. And so, if you need to talk to me, you can always reach me on Instagram or Twitter at JReezyMin. If you want to reach me on TikTok, I'm at JReezy, just because I've got it, because I have a 15-year-old. I'm kind of more monitoring his stuff than anything else. But then I'm able to embarrass him by doing some of the videos that I have. And so, but then it comes to find out he's just like me, where he has no shame, so I have no shame, so he's not embarrassed either.
Right.
So, but also, if you want to just talk mental health, if you need help with your mental health, you want to know where to start, or you want me to help you find resources in your area, there's lots of, honestly, people don't realize there's lots of free resources that people can have that are government sponsored or through non-government organizations that have free mental health support or reduced cost mental health support. So if you need help finding that path of going about it, or if you just need somebody to kind of every now and then talk to, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a counselor, I'm an advocate for youth. And in that process, I've had to learn how to do some ways to talk to people to help reduce stress and handle mental health, but not on a level where I'm a therapist or a counselor. But if you want help figuring out what plans that we need to make to help you, you can email me, John at freedomhousepc.org, and I'll be glad to walk you through that. Now, I'm not going to talk Star Trek. I'm not going to talk wrestling. I'm not going to talk any of that stuff. If you're communicating me there, we're only going to talk mental health, and because I care about you and I want you to go forward being healthy. But I'm also on the Academy Star Trek podcast with Triple D, Demetrius Zourdos. We record every other week talking Star Trek. So if you want to get on Star Trek and talk about this, you can go over there, listen to us on the affiliate feed. You can find all the different ways to contact us there. And then, of course, here on the Smack Attack, we have a mail sack every week. So you can James usually has all the plugs for that, but you can find us on Twitter. You type in Smack Attack, you find us there. James and I are both in the Hami Media Group discussion group. You can hit us up there. We're on Discord. We have a leaf there. You can contact the Smack Attack group. And then you can also email the show, which is in the notes or whatever, because I don't have access to any of that. James has access to all that. So when he's gone, I'm just kind of going, yeah, that's all you whatever. So, and if nothing else, just spam him today and tell him happy birthday.
Happy birthday, James.
He's on a bender. Apparently he's watching Eurovision, the real Euro, not the movie with Will Ferrell, but the real Eurovision. And so give him a hard time about that. But apparently he said Flo Rida was on the show. No, it's mail sack, MALE. We unload our mail sack every week. By the way, media. So I mean, if you're not, I don't know what's wrong with you if you're a guy. So that's how you can get a hold of us. That's how you watch the show. We're here every Saturday. Usually we try to, since James is in Scotland, we release the show around noonish every time on YouTube. And so live here until we get switched over to the Realm, and then we'll be recording and posting stuff there as well, since the main feed has been Thanos. So once we get all that situated, you're going to start seeing us more on different places like that. Right now, you can go to Patreon, see everything on HMG. If you're not following the A Show, go follow them on Patreon, follow them on Twitch, and then you're going to see yours truly there hopefully this week. Talking with April Hunter and Aaron Stevens about they wanted to highlight positive people who are doing things in the world and bring positivity back. And so they asked me to do that. And so I'm going to do that for them. So, and hey, any chance to talk to April Hunter? Hell yeah.
Yeah, dude.
I'm not going to say no to that. So, and then of course, looking at Aaron Stevens' dreamy eyes and just being like, hey, how you doing?
That's right.
Yeah. So that's everything I got, Rob. So I just want to say thank you for coming in and stepping in this week for James so that he can get his bender on. And I hope you have a good week, my man. And if you ever need anything from us, just let us know. And if you ever want to come back, you start watching, we'd love to have you come do a run in and tell us what you thought about stuff. So you're always welcome on this show from this point forward. So yeah,
I appreciate that, brother. And thanks everybody that came out and hung out with us this morning. Society Reviews, Jerome Hall, Media M5, Lab Rat, GAM, everybody that stopped by. You guys are always HMG lifers. We do appreciate all of our wonderful listeners and watchers. So thanks for everybody hanging out with us. And thank you for having me on, brother. And we'll do it again some other time.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys, that wraps up the Smack Attack for today. We appreciate it. Again, we appreciate everybody listening on the audio feed and everybody watching on the Hameen Media Group YouTube channel. I had a blast. Hopefully we'll do this again. Hope everybody has a great weekend. And whatever you do, just be safe. Don't do anything stupid. Especially you, McIvor, if you're listening. Don't do anything dumb, brother. We want to see you back here next week because I really don't want to watch SmackDown that much anymore. Until then, guys, appreciate you watching and listening. We'll see you on the next one. Take care, guys.